Let me share with you today some ideas on Kinjutsu, or forbidden techniques that have appeared in Naruto. Kinjutsu are techniques that have been banned from being taught or used due to danger and serious risks. Wouldn't it make you more curious if you hear that it's banned or forbidden? As a matter of fact, some Kinjutsu have even been mastered by genin, a lower ranked shinobi. So let me introduce you to Kinjutsu, which are horrifying, but at times with awesome outcomes. Some are original from the TV series, so maybe comic fans may not be familiar with all of them. Anyways, good boys and girls, please don't dare to try practicing Kinjutsu at home. 8 Gates Released Formation. Hachimon Tonko no Jin, or the 8 Gates Released Formation, is a technique that boosts up the physical ability of their user by forcibly releasing 8 limiters in the body. The users of the jutsu are Rock Lee, Might Guy, and Might Die. Forcing the limiters open will later torture the user's body, sometimes causing so much damage that will make the user impossible to move. For this reason, Guy categorizes both front lotus and reverse lotus as Kinjutsu too. The Hachimon Tonko no Jin reaches its final state when the user opens the 8th and final gate. The user will shortly gain more power than the Hokage, but at the cost of death. It was categorized as Kinjutsu for causing serious side effects to the user's whole life at times, as a cost for its performance. Tajiw Kagebunshin no Jutsu, Multiple Shadow Clone Technique. Tajiw Kagebunshin no Jutsu, or Multiple Shadow Clone Technique, is a typical jutsu used by Naruto, which allows the user to create several copies of themselves. It is categorized as Kinjutsu because it costs a large amount of chakra. When the technique is used, the user's chakra divides up equally between the clones, and a normal shinobi wouldn't be able to keep up with chakra consumptions and could possibly die. This Kinjutsu was developed by the second Hokage, Tobirama. Maybe he had a dreadful experience by using it. Futon Rasen Shuriken. Wind Release Rasen Shuriken. Futon Rasen Shuriken, or Wind Release Rasen Shuriken, pierces every cell in the body of the target, disconnecting the cells from chakra pathway systems. It is hard to believe that Naruto chose such a murderous technique as his short kill move. Its tremendous force causes cellular damage to the user's arms too, and on Naruto's first try, he also suffered from a broken arm and damage to his chakra pathway systems. Seeing that, Tsunade classified it as Kinjutsu, worried that Naruto might lose his ability to create and mold chakra. But Naruto overcame these flaws when he developed the Sage Mode. So and after that, it's kinda undefined whether it is still a Kinjutsu or not. But anyways, I'll classify it as a Kinjutsu here, since a normal shinobi would certainly break himself forever if he used the technique. Kodoku no Jutsu, Vast Poisoning Technique. Kodoku no Jutsu, or the Vast Poisoning Technique, is one of the secret ninjutsu used by the Aburame clan. The jutsu is similar to bioterrorism, exploding a vase that contains poisonous insects. Torune Aburame, who was a good friend of Shino and a subordinate of Danzo, had used this technique. It was categorized as a Kinjutsu because it required a dead human body to mass produce the poisonous insects. The poisonous insects could fully destroy any cell it touched, whether it was the target or any other living creature. It is good to hear that this environmentally unfriendly and threatening to allies jutsu became forbidden. Izanagi. Izanagi is one of the legendary dojutsu of the Uchiha clan. The user of this technique can apply an illusion to reality itself, changing inconvenient things into illusion and only keeping convenient things as reality. The reason why it became a Kinjutsu was because it cost the user's eyesight. Therefore, the Uchiha clans had used the technique especially on missions which they couldn't fail. Izanami. Izanami, paired with Izanagi, is another forbidden dojutsu of the Uchiha clan. The power of Izanami had provoked some arrogant Uchiha to fight amongst each other over favorable outcomes. And Izanami was created as a method to reprimand such men from their arrogance. The caster will create a physical sensation of yourself and the opponent, and replicate the same sensations over again to make an infinite loop that traps the opponent. Like Izanagi, performing Izanami would cost the caster's eyesight, and became a Kinjutsu. The victim will be able to escape from the infinite loop if they accept reality. Ninpo Sozo Saisei, Ninja Art Creation Rebirth. Ninpo Sozo Saisei, or Ninja Art Creation Rebirth, is a technique that immediately heals the wounds of the user by accelerating cell division. The healing process is much faster than the medical ninjutsu. This ability is not repairing, but recreating, and it will instantly regenerate any part of the body that is injured. According to Shizune, while this technique is active, the user will not die in a battle. True, Tsunade was alive even when her body was torn in half. It's a powerful technique that allows the user to temporarily be immortal, but there is a big defect. Since body cells can only split a certain number of times, forcing regeneration shortens the user's lifespan. But actually, we can see Tsunade is still energetic in Boruto's story, though she's over 70. So this Kinjutsu may not be as harmful as others. Jiongu, Earth Grudge Fear. Jiongu, or Earth Grudge Fear, is a Kinjutsu of Takigakure, where the user is able to manipulate tentacles from the body that seems like thin black threads. The user can store spare hearts in the body, and even integrate the nature transformation of the other shinobi. A maximum of 5 spare hearts could be stored, meaning that all hearts must be crushed to kill the user. It was categorized as Kinjutsu for the murderous and inhumane act of taking hearts away from others. Kakuzu has achieved this technique as a revenge for Takigakure's superiors, who had condemned him for failing to assassinate Hashirama. Staying alive after having a battle with Hashirama, don't you think that makes him superhuman enough? He was strong enough even before he achieved the Kinjutsu. Soja Sousai no Jutsu, Twin Snake's Mutual Death Technique. Soja Sousai no Jutsu, or Twin Snake's Mutual Death, is a technique which Anko tried to use against Orochimaru, but failed. It's a jutsu when the user grabs the victim's hand and forces the necessary hand seals. Both will die. If the user mistakenly forces hand seals with the victim's clone, only the user will die. Don't you think the risks are too high for something so easy to avoid? Fushi Tensei, the Living Corpse Reincarnation. Fushi Tensei, or the Living Corpse Reincarnation, is a technique that Orochimaru developed to obtain eternal life through countless experimentations. It allows the user to transfer his soul to someone else's body, making him immortal-like. It's classified as Kinjutsu because it simply has no trace of morality. The disadvantage is that it could be used only once every 2 or 3 years, so Orochimaru had to carefully select his host body. Sasuke was able to reject this, but Genyumaru and White Zetsu have become victims. Kishou Tensei, one's own life reincarnation. Kishou Tensei, or one's own life reincarnation jutsu, is a technique that gives life force to the target by giving the user's chakra. It was originally developed by Chiyo to bring Sasori's parents back to life, which did not actually happen. The healing powers are strong enough to heal even fatal injuries. The user will face death in exchange for reviving the soul of the deceased. This jutsu was categorized as Kinjutsu in Tsunagakure village due to this heavy risk. Sometimes when the user's chakra isn't sufficient enough to save the target, a third party can assist the user with the chakra. I think we all still remember that Naruto had shared his chakra with Chiyo to revive Gaara. Kuchiyose Edo Tensei, Summoning, Impure World Reincarnation. Kuchiyose Edo Tensei, or the Summoning, Impure World Reincarnation, is probably the most famous Kinjutsu in the story. It's a dirty technique that brings back the soul of the deceased, developed by the second Hokage, Tobirama. A living sacrifice is required as a vessel to bind the soul of the deceased. This jutsu really ignores the dignity of the dead. Decades later, Orochimaru and Kabuto improved the technique to control the dead as their soldiers during their combat. The reincarnated shinobi will have infinite chakra and an immortal body, plus all the abilities they had during their life, which makes them seriously troublesome when they become enemies. Killing the summoner does not release their reincarnation and just leaves uncontrollable zombies behind. Although this technique has some defects, such as being able to deactivate the jutsu if the opponent knows the hand seals, or being unable to control strong shinobi, but overall, it's a very convenient jutsu for the user. By the way, Tobirama had other dirty ideas when he developed this jutsu, which goes like this. 1. Kill prisoners who are likely to have confidential information. 2. Sacrifice another prisoner as a living vessel for the ones he killed, and torture them to force out the information. 3. When it's done, implant explosive tags in the body and send him back to the enemy's camp. 4. Blow him up in the middle of the enemy's army while they're celebrating the return of their comrades. 5. Beat the enemy up while they're confused. If you're the one who fell for the trick, I guess you won't deny Tobirama's sneakiness. Shikifujin, the dead demon consuming seal. Shikifujin, or the dead demon consuming seal, is a technique that seals the summoner and the target into Shinigami. Both souls will be sealed forever within the Shinigami and wouldn't revive even with the impure world reincarnation. The sealing jutsu is powerful enough to even seal tailed beasts, but at the cost of the summoner's life. Previously, the first and second Hokage, a half of 9 tails, and Orochimaru had become targets for being sealed, and the third and fourth Hokage gave up their life as the summoner. It's kind of creepy to think that all of the souls of Hokage are sealed inside the Shinigami. Souls can be freed from the Shinigami's stomach by using Shikifujin, Kai, or Dead Demon Consuming Seal, Release. The summoner must wear a Shinigami mask which is stored in the hall of Uzumaki clan. To release the soul, they should then become possessed by the Shinigami and slice open their own stomach. Since this technique usually costs the life of the summoner, it was categorized as a Kinjutsu. Summary. So I've just introduced you to the Kinjutsu that appeared in Naruto's story. There was another Kinjutsu which only appeared in the TV series, called the Kinjutsu of Tsuchigumo's clan, but I'm not sure about the details. Performing Kinjutsu usually costs the user's life or causes severe damage to the user, and I think it's all too natural to be banned. I think we can also tell that the harsh situations of shinobi wars in the past had urged each village to develop such dangerous techniques. But leaving that aside, forbidden does sound cool, doesn't it? Honestly, I'd like to see more of them. Which Kinjutsu fascinates you the most? Please leave your comments below.